Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wrestle Talk Podcast, episode number 486. That's right, inching ever so closer to number 500. Can't believe we're so close, just getting excited for 500, I tell you. We have so many surprises in store. Might even pop a few surprises tonight, who knows? But as always, you know, I am not flying solo, not at all, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, I have not only one person with me tonight, there's actually two people here with me tonight. So let's go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and bring them in here. First off, let me get the man himself, the face behind I-70 Sports Media, the one and only Jeremy Karp. How's it going, Maestro?
Oh, Big Hoss, how you doing, my friend? Thank you so much for having me on this evening.
I am doing good. Been a long time since you and I have been together on the show, and, you know, just happy to have you here. Looking forward to another great show. How have you been, my friend?
I have been busy, but I am doing great. I am blessed as always, so I am ready for a fantastic show tonight. I'm really looking forward to it.
Exactly. You know, I'm looking forward to the show as well. And, you know, but as I said, we're not here by ourselves. And, you know, I got to wish you a belated birthday. Last week was your birthday.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
This week, we also have a birthday on the show. So let's get him in here, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, joining us is the one and only, the birthday boy, Gabriel Arsene.
Afternoon, gentlemen. I think I need to change my handle here on the podcast tonight, so it says birthday boy.
Oh, snap.
Yours truly has officially turned 26. Here,
you're getting old.
Wrestle Talk podcast. Yeah, I know, right? Old enough to be considered an adult, but not old enough to be considered an adult to other adults.
Exactly. I just turned 29 last week, so I'm pushing 30, and my right knee is pushing 70.
Now, I heard you turned 50, Jeremy.
Yeah, we have a resident where I work who says I turned 50, and the residents always have to be right. So you know what? Screw it. I turned 50 last week. So the right knee is still 70.
So,
but I gotta ask, Hardcore Hoss, where's my happy birthday song? You gave Maestro some on the show, and
I actually have the song queued up, my man. You know, yes. You're jumping the gun. You're early.
I'm excited. There's a difference.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Happy birthday to you. Ding dong.
Maybe one of these days those guys will remember the name of who they're singing to.
That
all
still, I still
interchangeable.
get a kick out of it. I really do.
I feel like is that a new stable here on the Wrestle Talk podcast as of now?
I
It has to
believe
be.
so. So, as always, gentlemen, it is great to be here. Happy to be here with you two.
A lot to talk in the world of wrestling in the past
Can we
week and a
say
half.
one thing before we
Last show.
continue, though? There's
Yes.
one thing. Haas, I freaking love that title belt you got on you. That is a beautiful belt. You are the FWWC Hardcore Champ.
Longest
your
reigning
Haas.
hardcore champ.
Yep, and I really dig that belt. That's awesome.
Yeah, this is a nice belt, although I hear rumors there may be new belts in the works for everybody, including this one, but I'm kind of partial to this one,
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it is a very nice belt, though. So,
see, I'm glad. First of all, Susie Haas, welcome to the show. Always long-standing member here for the Wrestle Talk podcast family. We can always count on her to be in our comments section. Badass American Diva, international champion, actually, in the FWWC. But thank you for being on the show tonight. I'm glad she mentioned it, though. I can't be the only one who thinks that those guys that sing the birthday song look like minions. I know they're not, but they definitely have
At
that.
first, that's what I thought, too.
well, the minions are copyrighted, so
it's true. It's true. But gentlemen, there's a lot happening in the world of professional wrestling, and we got a lot to talk about. But we have some very important things to do before we hop into this show. So, Hardcore Haas, as always, did we want to knock out those sponsors real quick before we jump into a specific segment that I know we're all thrilled to be waiting to hear playing here in a moment?
Let's scroll those sponsors. So, as always, we want to thank our wonderful sponsors, Royal Mills Transportation, the one and only Dewan Mills with all your transportation needs. Nobleman's Barber Lounge, KCMO, Ask for Pete the Barber, Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media, that's Jeremy Carp and the guys, they're absolutely killing it. Little Popeyes Designs, where you get your very own Wrestle Talk podcast tumbler, and the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group, where if you join, you could become a champion and get a title belt just like this one. But you can't have mine because nobody.
But just you can have that. You can have a title, but you just can't have that one. That's Haas's.
That's right.
That's right. So, well, as Susie's pointing out, it's that time again, gentlemen.
Always that time. Of course, our favorite segment here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, where we ask everybody to remove their hats, place their hands over their hearts, because we need to pay tribute to the greatest country on God's green earth. And that is, of course, America, damn it. Never fails. Another national anthem, tears to our eyes and blood to our ears. As always, I like to bring this guy when I can out, folks. This is Edward the Eagle, the most patriotic member here in the FWWC and the Wrestle Talk podcast. But gentlemen, with those out of the way, we are here to talk about some wrestling. So just before we jump into these high spots questions, has anybody been watching anything that's been going on in TV recently? And has everybody been keeping their finger on the pulse on what's been going on in the news? I know we've had a lot happening here in the wrestling world. A lot of, free agencies that we didn't expect to see coming. A couple of, newsworthy moments, some matches here in the future, and a lot of results. AJ Wallace.
There's a lot that I can definitely think of. I mean, I'm sure we'll be discussing perhaps the most notable one.
I think we're all on the same page when it comes to that one, huh?
Yeah. I will say, I don't know if you heard about this, but Sabu is preparing to wrestle his retirement match in 2025.
I was not aware.
And GCW is aiming to be the host promotion for his final match in January of 2025. So he's preparing to get in shape. He's still doing all tour dates that are scheduled, all appearances. But yes, Sabu, the wrestling legend, the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, death-defying Sabu, is aiming to wrestle his final match in just about 7 months from now.
Wow. And he's been going on how many years now?
Well, I will say this. Sabu is, he's 59 years old. He made his debut in, 1984. So
I wasn't even alive.
So 11 years, let's put it this way. You really want to make yourself feel old. That was 11 years before I was born. So basically, when he retires, it'll be a 41-year career in pro wrestling.
Wow, what a career. We can all look back upon that, huh?
And then in 20 years from now, Ric Flair will have his next retirement match.
He's got to... I feel like at this point, Ric Flair is going to have as many retirement matches as he had world title reigns. I feel like that's where we're at in the point in wrestling.
You know...
Like they're going to stick the bolts in his neck, and like 10 years from now, they're just going to charge him up with some electricity, and he's going to wrestle somebody that might be available.
So I'm going to say something, and I want your guys' thoughts. I know there's definitely a lot to talk about. We got everything prepared, but I have to ask. Look, to me, Ric Flair is the greatest wrestler of all time. Do I think this is hurting his legacy? Yes. But I consider Ric Flair to be the greatest wrestler of all time. Now, is it kind of funny that, technically he's had 3 retirement matches. He had the one with Shawn Michaels. He had the one against Sting at Impact. It was just considered a Legends match. But that turned out to be his last match. And then he had the last match at that pay-per-view. Now, Terry Funk, another guy considered to be one of the greatest of all time, had God knows how many retirement matches and kept going. But do you notice Terry Funk doesn't really get the criticism Ric Flair got? Or gets? Why do you guys think that is?
I mean, for me, it's only because to me, Terry is sort of... I think the big thing is that it's retirement in and of itself. For Terry, it feels more like that's expected for him to come out of retirement. But for Rick, it's like not many people get an opportunity to end the way that he did. I feel like with Terry, him ending on his terms fits into the reason why he does it so often. That it's like he never will be satisfied. But with Rick, it's like you could be satisfied with both of the retirements you've had, and you managed to do another one. So it's like, to me, that's why that doesn't work. But I mean, what do you think, Haas?
I mean, honestly, I kind of think with Terry, people tend to look at him, and I'm not completely sure why, but I think a lot of people look at him and think there's more that they want to see him do. There's more that he can do. And like I say, I'm not completely sure why that is that people think that, because he has done so much in his career. And, honestly, I think that, he probably should stay retired. With Flair, I think people look at him and say, he's done so much, there's nothing more that he can do. And so that's why they criticize him, is because they feel that, he's already done it all, so why should he keep coming back?
Right. And I'm going to put this in the hypothetical mainly because Terry Funk passed away last year. So obviously you know, yeah, that is over. But I do like the point about, you know, for Terry Funk, it was almost as much of a headline. Come see Terry Funk, the living legend, in his last match or in his retirement match. That was almost a tagline for all these shows. WrestleMania 24, to me, Flair versus Shawn Michaels, one of the greatest matches of all time. And we really didn't know who was going to win that. And it was an emotional night after Raw or after WrestleMania, you know, and Flair goes to TNA and ruins all that. Has a couple good matches in TNA, but other than that, really sucked. And then everything in AEW, and then he has this last match under Jim Crockett Promotions, and it's just, I get it. I think, you know, as an athlete, you always have that desire to keep doing what you love. At some point, you got to know, though, you have limitations. I mean, Flair has a pacemaker in him. I love him, but I really don't think even Triple H is retired, and he knows why he retired.
And that's sad when he's younger. Like,
yeah,
Flair is how many more years older than him? And
Flair's in his mid-70s right now,
and H is like what, 20 years younger than that?
Yeah,
and
Triple
he's
H
not
is
wrestling.
in his early 50s, I think. And so for Flair to do that, yeah. I just had to throw that out there. I'm sorry if I'm throwing any curveballs and stuff, but I definitely just thought that popped in my head.
We got 2 hours to fill, and we love to have you on the show, man. Come on.
Thank you.
I think we got to get back on the pace here because Hardcore Hoss, I think it's about time we jump into these high spots questions because I think I'm pretty ready for some wrestling.
I am too.
I think the Maestro's definitely ready. So we just got to ask, are you ready, Hardcore Hoss?
I am ready. So let's go ahead and hit that DJ money and get into these high spots.
Mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like lamb chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of a laptop and non-stop like a runner speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops. Like a clock flash, look like a barely fly. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
All right, it is time for those high spots. So let's go ahead and get this randomizer fired up and let's see what it's got in store for us tonight. Are you ready, gentlemen?
Yes.
I'm ready to go.
All right. Clash at the Castle. So this Saturday is Clash at the Castle. And which match are you most looking forward to at the Clash this Saturday? Who would like to start?
Gabe, we'll pass it to you since you're the incumbent birthday boy.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I do have to put up the card real quick because I don't actually know all of them right now. I believe I know Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre for the championship is announced, which I don't know about you, gentlemen. I think that's going to be a good one, but I'm just going to go down the line here of what we have so far just so we have something to talk about. So currently, as I said, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. Bayley will be defending her championship against Piper Niven. We have the undisputed WWE Championship. It's going to be an I Quit match between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles. Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. The Women's Tag Team Championship, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus Shayna Baszler. Zoe Stark versus Alba Fryer and Isla Dawn. I apologize if I'm butchering that. And then Logan Paul versus Carmelo Hayes and LA Knight for the United States Championship. Solo Sikoa versus Kevin Owens, Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser, Gunther versus Randy Orton, Ilya Dragunov versus Ricochet versus Braun Breaker, excuse me. Very different profile if his name was Braun Baker. But out of the gate here, off of this list I've just had right now, I'll be real here, and I'm going to throw the curveball out there. Bayley versus Piper Niven. I feel in terms of wrestling star power for the women's division, we have our heavy hitters, but this has the potential to really establish somebody that I think had plenty of a kit to work with. She just needs her spotlight. And the best part about it is this match is going to go really hard for those of you who don't expect it, because this is playing to Piper Niven's strengths. I believe, I don't know if she's from the area they're going to specifically, but she's very big in the European and English scene over there in the wrestling community. So I knew her back when she was going by Viper down in the Indies when she was in WCPW. So to see her on this level, and for me personally, just on look alone, I'm really curious to see what this does. Do I think she wins the championship? Probably not. But I definitely think she does a good job of establishing people that A, she's a single star, and B, she is a contender for this belt. She just needs her opportunity. But that's just me. I'll throw it to you, Hardcore Hoss. What match are you most excited to hear or check out here? Come and Clash the Castle.
I look for this to be a pretty good pay-per-view. One of the matches, though, that honestly I am most interested to see is I'm most interested to see how they're going to do the match with Chad Gable and Sammy. Are they going to let Sammy win that? Gable win that title? And if they don't, he's actually in contract talks too. So if they don't let him win it, is he going to decide not to sign a contract and leave?
Definitely opens up some questions here. Come Clash at the Castle. I want him to win personally. I don't know about you, Maestro. I mean, do you think he will win? Just before we throw it to your answer, do you think Gable has a chance of winning, or do you think he's going to follow?
Well, Gable always has a chance of winning, and I think, I don't think I don't think Chad Gable's going to win. I still feel like Sami Zayn is going to hold it for at least one more pay-per-view until he would lose it. I do think Chad Gable's going. I personally think at SummerSlam, Sami Zayn might lose it. Whoever, whether it be to Chad Gable or somebody else. And I will say this. I do also like the idea of potentially having an Otis versus Chad Gable IC title match at SummerSlam. We know the seeds have been planted to build up. Look, we know what's going to happen. We just don't know exactly when Otis will break free from the Alpha Academy. And if you want to know a match that I think is really going to, and first to your point, Gabe, I will say also, Piper Niven is from Scotland, so she will get an undeniably raucous ovation there.
They're gonna explode, because that crowd.
I liken it to how Selena Vega was recepted when they had a show in San Juan, Puerto Rico. They were unbelievably behind her. I personally think the match to watch. Look, anybody could say Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles or Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre. Yeah, go with the heavy hitters. I'm going with the triple threat tag team match here.
Really? The women's match?
The women's triple threat tag team match, because there's a lot of talent in this match, and yet but they haven't gotten a whole lot of mainstream time together on a show, like whether it be Raw or SmackDown. I do like Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark as a tag team. While they let their physicality and their athleticism do the talking. Alba Fire, who condolences on the tragic sudden passing of her mother. Her and Isla Dawn, I think, is a very solid tag team as well. But Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair are the main attractions for the match. They're the ones who a lot of people are going to come to see. And they got just a rousing ovation last night on Raw, and they didn't even wrestle. So just to see these three amazing tag teams in a match with the titles on the line, I think and international crowds are always more electric. I think this has a great chance to really surprise a lot of people. So that's the match I'm really looking forward to.
All right. So,
Well, did anybody have any thoughts about any other matches that were going to be on the card? Like off the top of your head, how excited are you guys for this Cody Rhodes versus AJ match? Because I know we all kind of brushed past it, and I'm pretty sure I was the one singing its praises on the last show. But do you find that it's a case of you guys are more excited for those shows because you know what to expect for Cody or AJ, or do you think?
And that's the thing. Like Cody and AJ are two of the best at what they do, and they've established.
I want them to surprise me. That's why they've
established themselves at two of the best. We've seen them wrestle. The amount of matches, not just in WWE, but look back at all the matches in AEW and ROH and TNA that these men have wrestled over their long careers. I know going into that it's going to be a great match. For example, the triple threat tag team match, a lot of people are expecting it just to be a bad filler match, which is why I think it's going to be a sleeper match that a lot of people will be surprised on how well it'll be.
well, my question on the Cody AJ match is my understanding of an I Quit match from every one of them I have ever watched was the only way to win was to make your opponent say, I quit. Now, last night on Raw, they said the only way to win is to knock your opponent down so that they can't answer the 10 count. I thought that was a last man standing match, not an I Quit match. So,
yeah, I think something got lost in translation there.
Exactly. So what type of match is it really? Is it an I Quit match or a last man standing? Because that's what they described on.
I mean, if you can't get up, you might as well have quit.
So,
but yes,
I
totally get it. And that's another thing. You know what, Hoss? I had the perfect answer to that. I mean, there's no rules in a Hell in a Cell match unless the ref decides to stop it.
My gears will simply not stop grinding about that. I hate that finish. It is so stupid. That was Vince McMahon literally saying, wrestling fans don't care enough about the rules. And it's like everybody in the room disagreed with him.
That would be one of the worst finishes in any wrestling match I've ever seen in my life.
Bar none.
Well, I think he thought wrestling fans were stupid enough that they would not catch the fact that, they're stopping a match that has no rules. And everybody did because they're a lot more intelligent than Vince McMahon gave them credit for it.
I also don't like the red Hell in a Cell structure. I mean, good Lord, you can't see through it.
So gaudy. It's horrible. But I was going to say, I, as a stupid wrestling fan, take offense to statements made about stupid wrestling fans. I may be an idiot, but I'm not dumb, Vince McMahon.
Well, and footnote, I am not saying wrestling fans are dumb. Because I'm one of those dumb wrestling fans myself, but so I'm not doing that to criticize anybody. But that is what Vince thought. He thought all the wrestling fans were just dumb enough that he could force feed them anything he wanted, and they wouldn't complain because we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, just look at the jingling keys. But we could spend all night talking about Vincent Kennedy McMahon and all the decisions he thought us wrestling fans wouldn't catch, but we'd probably have enough to fill up to episode 500 now, wouldn't we? So we should probably throw it back to where we left off here. So Hardcore Hoss, you ready to throw it to our next our next high spots question here? Susan Leakey, she has a burning question. Want it if Dom went to Liv Morgan's room after Raw last night? Ooh, scandalous. I still don't think so, but I mean, what do you gentlemen think? Well, you know what? We'll actually let's transition into this. We'll go that as the high spots question. What do you think in the world is going on with Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio after last night? Other than every gentleman in the world who's watching wrestling wanting to be switching positions with Dominic Mysterio. But I digress. Maestro, what are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I could see it. Look, this is something that's going to be hidden for a while. Look, you could obviously throw the curveball and say Carlito went, but just for the hell of it, because he thought it was cool that she gave him a key. But let's face it, this whole thing, I think it's actually brilliant storytelling they're doing with Liv Morgan right now. Because let's face it, she goes on her revenge tour. She takes out Rhea Ripley. She takes away the title from Becky Lynch. And now she's stealing Rhea's man. And I'm just going to say it. And look, we're all I know Haas has his wonderful woman by his side. I have an amazing girlfriend by my side. Gabe, are you in a relationship?
I am currently engaged and happily so,
mazel
making the
tov.
time to get married.
So let me just say this. When Liv said, you don't need a woman that calls you mommy. You don't need to be calling her mommy. You need a woman that'll call you daddy. You can't say that made you all feel a certain way.
Yeah, I'm reminded of the degenerate forum pages I hear talk about pro wrestling and anime. The stuff I avoid on my timeline.
The stuff we hear from, I'm like, she did not just say that.
Server.
I'm like, that's the stuff that AOL would have been blowing up about back in 1998. Okay, so, and Susan brought up the great point that Dami got married recently. I'm sure in the Paul Levesque era, these types of storylines would run through some sort of quality control through the family. Once again, I guess I have to throw a Vince thing out there. When it was Vince, he didn't give a damn. You're married, you had kids, you just do whatever.
Even now, remember what he did? Rusev got married to Lana, and he said,
"Don't give me." Oh God, I remember that.
You get the script anyways.
I was in St. Louis for Raw when they did the King's Court episode with Rusev and Lana and Bobby Lashley and everything, and I'm just like, what? And then keep in mind, all the credibility was lost when Lana stopped speaking with the accent. Because there went the character. Okay.
And they were in her specialty. Not to go on this tangent, but it's imagine gutting somebody of the thing that they can do the back of their hand. She made it easy. She could heal like a champ when she was doing that accent. And then he just said, no. Just no. I don't want money. Millionaire who should be a billionaire. I will never not stress that. But going back to where we were starting here. So it sounds like you like the Dominic Mysterio angle so far.
I like the angle because it's believable. That's what I like. It is believable.
I'm glad you said this because I wanted to say, and I'll throw it to you in a sec, Hardcore Hoss. I just want to get this off my chest. Anybody denying the effectiveness of the Triple H era because you want to hold on to the past, think about how we are watching WWE, and it is completely transparent. We know Dominic is getting married. We know Rhea is with Buddy Murphy, and Liv is probably enjoying home life.
She's with Dallas, I believe.
There you go. And even then, I'm just she's probably living her best life, doing whatever she wants on, whatever. And yet every single one of us who tune in to Monday Night Raw is like, okay, but what's the tea with Liv and Dom though? Because I need to know what's happening in the world of drama. Like, and I guarantee you, there are sources and articles being written where people are like, is this a work? Is Dominic Mysterio actually not with Liv Morgan? Or is there, like, I feel like people are secretly
And I
expecting
hate the dirt sheets, by the way. I can't stand the dirt sheets.
You and I both, brother.
So
why do you think they got dirt in them? Because they're not worth wiping your ass with. But
no, and hearing Uncle Dave with his bullshit sources and everything, I don't need to deal with it. So yes, Hardcore Hoss, I have to ask you
exactly.
What are your thoughts on this how the whole Triple H era is playing into the whole Liv and Dom angle, and just what it's like watching WWE TV as opposed to now, as opposed to, we'll just say 15 years ago. We'll do 15 years ago. What do you think?
Honestly, I said last week that, if they really want to make a surprise out of this, because, honestly, I do believe that they are going to use this to eventually split up Dom and Rhea when she comes back. But if you really want to make a full surprise out of this, not only split them up, let Dom run off with Liv and let her take Rhea's place in Judgment Day and have Rhea kicked out. That would just be the absolute swerve that nobody saw coming. But I doubt they're going to do that.
I hear your thoughts, Hardcore Hoss, and I just want to say I like the initiative on that story. I think it's interesting. It's like music to my ears.
I love it.
And you deserved it.
Fantastic.
I'm throwing it the other way because I'm sticking to my guns here, and I want to see if I'm right. I'm not saying I am right. I'm not saying I will be right. I just want to play the odds because I like pro wrestling, and you never know where it could land. I still say Dominic, we all know he's really Eddie's son. He knows how to play this long con game better than anybody else. Because think about it. Think about it. Rhea finally comes back in how many other months in the future? We keep playing the water. Eventually, we think, is Dominic really on? Is he going to turn? And then at the last moment, when you think he's going to be cheating her and everything during a match with Rhea and Liv, he finally makes his allegiance and says, no, I am sticking with Rhea because she will murder me if she wins this match without my help. But I think the initiative from there, instead of kicking out Rhea, what if instead they kick out Balor and they run it back? Balor, Styles, Morgan, Gallows, and Anderson. That's my hand. That's where I'm at with it. And then we have the Judgment Day with 4 full members. Everybody's got shit to do. Bullet Club. In the year of our Lord 2025. I'm just saying, that's me. On my birthday, I'm allowed to be a little... We got to hit him with the Nana dance.
So, lots of interesting theories going around. So,
man, I'm a lot stupider when Night Owl is not on the program, huh?
So, but are we ready for our next topic?
I am damn sure ready for it.
All right.
So, just wanted to make some time for our lovely sister Haas. I thought that was a good question, and I felt like you two had your opinions. But let's throw it to the high spots question.
We will get back to that randomizer. And, there's people in the comments, shout out there. They're waiting on Sky, and, we'll be bringing him on here probably in about 30 minutes or so, somewhere around in there.
Please get the word out there, folks. Wrestle Talk Podcast, our hashtag, Let's Talk Wrestling. You can find us on X. You can find us on Instagram, on Facebook. Please be sure to get the word out there. We have our guest coming in another hour. We love to have you guys in the comments section. It really pushes engagement. And just trying to get our names out there.
So let's go ahead and hit that randomizer and see what it's got for us now. AEW and Warner Brothers. So, according to sources, Warner Brothers had interest in adding AEW pay-per-views to the Max streaming service. Who do you feel that benefits and why? So, you want me to start out on this one?
You start this one because I got an interesting thing to say about this.
I got a brew on this too, and I'm curious about your thoughts. But go ahead, Hardcore.
Personally, I think that would be a big benefit for AEW. Right now, if you don't get the pay-per-view through your cable company or satellite company, the actual pay-per-view channel, you have to stream it through was Cage Side or one of those. And not a lot of people know it. And they I don't think they really look at that for the streaming. So I think they're losing in that aspect. So I think that would be a big thing for them to move to a streaming service like Max, to where you have more people, more eyes, and I think that would benefit AEW more than it would Warner Brothers, honestly. So, that's my thought on it.
Here, I was gonna say, did you want to go first, Maestro?
I'll go first on this one.
Go ahead,
First
go
off,
ahead.
I'm amazed that anybody with the name Warner has any interest in a wrestling. That being said, no, I think it's a win-win because the more products you can put on a streaming service, the streaming services are still going to attract many eyes. So I think putting it on Max would be a great benefit. And for AEW, look, crowds are dwindling. The promotion is not near bankrupt. Let's be honest. Let's not act like they're on death row.
Yeah.
But to be able to, revenue is down, attendance is down. A lot of the economic figures for the company are down. Being able to be added to another streaming service will be a great way to help boost viewership and to some degree. A lot of companies, a lot of promotions and companies they include streams, like people viewing on streaming services and things. So for example, WWE with Peacock, you can't just say this many people bought it on pay-per-view, and if it says 90,000 people, you can't say only 90,000 people tuned in, because you got X amount of people who have Peacock, then you got all the people on other streaming services. I think it's a win-win because it will provide a boost in viewership, and it'll have Warner Brothers being able to delve into the wrestling market, which, look, say what you want, wrestling is still as hot as it's ever been because there's options. Wrestling is much better when there's options available. Look, there is a reason, and I'm just going to say this quick thought, Gabe. There's a reason WWE did some of the
It's a
stupid
2-hour show, dude. Go off.
In some of the early 2000s, some of the dumb shit WWE did, they did it because they were the only option. Like, let's be real, Ring of Honor wasn't really prominent yet. TNA was just starting out. They could get away
in
with
their infancy. They were still doing pay-per-views a month, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So WWE could do whatever they want. Not saying they can't now, but now there's alternatives. People can watch New Japan. People can watch People can watch AEW, TNA, ROH. They can watch all these other. They all watch Lucha Underground. They'll watch PWG, MLW. There is so many different available promotions that you can dedicate your time to. without having to dedicate to just WWE. So that's my thought on it. So Gabe, I'll shoot that to you.
Yeah, no, I honestly, we're all in the same ballpark here with this because, as you said, a lot of people have different flavors of what they like in wrestling, and accessibility is the best way to get us to keep watching it. So not only does this preserve AEW's library for the potential future, so it's no longer a con thing. It's okay, Warner Brothers has access to this, so we can probably catalog these tapes for wrestling in the future. That's for me as a historian. I like knowing that things are safe and documented because I like wrestling. And it's like, well, we should study this. Let's assume AEW is here for another 10 years. Or if not, we want to be able to be like, okay, what went wrong? But that's me being a geek about it. I think it just benefits them in the fact that, like, you can watch an episode a day later now. Like, for me, I didn't really have cable for a while. So watching AEW was difficult live, and like replays are very slimming if you don't like have that ability. So for me, I don't know. I just think it's like more accessible, and I'm probably going to watch it more because I think I have Max. So it's like, I'm pretty sure you're helping a lot of people who may not have access to AEW get access to AEW, which is a huge thing. And then I'm like going a mile a minute, but it's like the big one for me is that potentially does that move Ring of Honor to this as well? I mean, would that be good if anything? I mean, because I don't know about y'all, but I'm having trouble watching Ring of Honor. And if we could move that to HBO Max, I think that'd be a lot easier for a lot more people. Because then it's like, all right, cool. Which wrestling do I want on the app that I have now? So now you don't have to choose between, Netflix and HBO Max. You could just be like, all right, HBO Max, and then do I watch AEW or ROH? But that's me being positive.
Well, the thing about ROH is they need to make ROH separate. Right now anymore, you have the ROH champions over on AEW and vice versa, and you never know who's who anymore. Honestly, being that AEW owns them, they've kind of just muddied the waters between it, and which I was afraid that they were going to do when they bought it. So ROH, you kind of just have to put that separate if you're going to make ROH work again the way that most people would want to see it. But there's just so much out there right now that like Jeremy said, right now wrestling is hot. It's at least in my opinion, I see more wrestling out there than what I ever have. I come across more wrestling fans than what I ever have. There was such a stigma for the longest time about wrestling fans and stuff, but I'm getting to the point now where everywhere I go, I run into wrestling fans, and they don't seem to be ashamed to where they feel they have to hide it. And it used to be that there was a lot of people who were closet wrestling fans because they just felt, well, if I tell somebody I'm a wrestling fan, they're going to look at me like I'm stupid. I'm going to hear about how it's fake. And I don't see that as much anymore. It's out there, and it's just bigger than ever right now. So.
I'm excited for the move. That's just it. But Jeremy, did you have any extra thoughts on this one, or we were ready to throw to the next question? Did you put a chant on? Here, let that play out.
Oh no, I really don't have any more thoughts on that matter. It's just I just think it's a benefit. I do want to see ROH start to thrive more than it like it did for a while. I miss those late nights when Sinclair had it, and it was 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, and I'd be just tuning into it on a Saturday night. There was some sort of charm to it. In a way, it's kind of how I am now watching Women of Wrestling on Fox, on our local here on Fox. I think it's on at midnight. And on the off chance I'm up that late, I'll have it on because it's, I don't know, something about late night professional wrestling that harkens back to when I was a kid watching it. So that's what I got.
Yeah, Saturday night's main event, you know?
Yep, exactly.
So, all right. Well, we'll go ahead and hit that randomizer and see what else we got.
Oh, did somebody load this one? I'm ready to talk about this.
You knew it was coming. You just didn't know when. So this is actually going to be a two-part question.
Oh, God.
So the first question is going to be, and actually, let me switch this graphic. So the first question
Yes.
is April 2018, NXT created the North American Championship. With Ricochet leaving WWE, no one is left from that. Are you surprised? And of course, the second part is with Ricochet resigning from WWE, where do you see him landing next?
Maestro, it sounds like you got a lot to say about this. So you want to take the lead on this one?
So let me start with...
You mind if I anchor on this one, Hardcore House?
Go ahead.
So no, I mean, I'm saying it goes Jeremy, you, then me.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, okay. Let me first, to the first part of the question, there is a reason nobody is left anymore. You know, Lars Sullivan did it himself. EC3 got buried. Velveteen Dream, we know how that played off. Adam Cole, it just didn't work out. Ricochet, I don't know. Okay, like, this is weird. It's like half of him panned out, the other half didn't. Because I will say Adam Cole had a fantastic run in NXT. It's the main roster. Nothing ever came of it. Ricochet has been the guy that's just there. Now, is that knocking him as an athlete or a wrestler? No. I think it's knocking the creative process. It's knocking the booking. Because Ricochet has been a reliable wrestler. He's always done the job. He was one of the wrestlers involved in Brock Lesnar being eliminated from the Royal Rumble just a few years ago in 2020. You know, he blowed Brock Lesnar, and then Drew McIntyre hit the Claymore and eliminated him. Now, for Ricochet, to continue where he's going, or to continue the question of where he's going, okay, I'm just going to tell you right now, it is not going to be AEW. I don't see it. I do not see AEW.
I'm glad you said that because I was thinking the same thing. That I was like, I want to see him fight Ospreay, but he doesn't have to be a part of their roster to do that.
No. Gabe might actually love me for this. I think Ricochet is going to go to New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I think you're right.
I see Ricochet. The athleticism that he possesses is prime New Japan style. I think he will be treated with the utmost class and respect out there. I think he will have greater chances to shine. WWE, I agree, Susan. WWE missed the chance with him. Also, to save the dirt sheet bullshit any trouble, no, I don't think Samantha Irvin's going to leave either. She's got 3 years left on her contract, and believe it or not, it's possible to have one when it comes to couples, have one person in one promotion and somebody else in the other.
We're seeing that now. I agree.
Exactly.
I'm just repeating what you're saying here,
Go
Carp. Just
for it.
cut the bullshit, folks. Like, come on, it's not that hard. Like, people got to find the TMZ in it. I'm like, we don't need this shit in wrestling. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just
But
like, 'cause it's
didn't
like
you?
Rhea's
But
got
didn't you
Buddy,
know
and
that
then Moxley
on
had
the
Renee still there. Sorry.
no, didn't you hear on the latest WON? Uncle Dave said something like this is gonna happen. Like, get the hell out of here with that shit. No, Samantha Irvin is the best in-ring announcer in WWE. She is doing a fantastic job. I love the amount of heart and emotion and power she puts into it.
She's just got a pretty voice. I like it.
Yes, she really does. I want to say this. This is a quick thing. Quick sidetrack, but still on track to my thoughts. Huge kudos to WWE for last night on Raw. They wrote off Ricochet by, him getting absolutely clobbered by Braun Breaker through a car windshield. Samantha Irvin was back there with him, seeing him get into the ambulance. So what do? They have Pat McAfee spontaneously do ring announcing. Look, that is gold, okay? For that to happen, oh my God, major props to WWE for doing that. I think that's a great way to utilize all your talents.
Gets everything involved. Like, it's a good way to get people to get paid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Samantha Irving's probably like, cool, I get my spot in the show. And then, like, first of all, shout out to Ricochet for being an absolute professional for, selling for somebody like Braun Breaker on his way out of the company. Like, clearly it's not in bad heat, Maestro? Like,
Yeah.
I think we're glad to know that it's like, there's no animosity. Ricochet's probably like, I just want to wrestle somewhere else for a little bit.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
Say one more? No. I don't mean that in any aggressive way. I just said, you want to know something else about Ricochet in New Japan? He wrestled there for years. He spent years in New Japan. I mean, he
King
was a
Ricochet
contender for the
was a
IWGP
god.
Junior Heavyweight Championship. He teamed with Kenny Omega.
For those of you that haven't seen his matches with Ospreay after the Best of Super Juniors matches, because everybody gets stuck at that one because that clip is on Facebook all the time, watch some of their rematches. They're really good. Like, Ricochet is a pretty decent
I even thought
athlete.
the Funky Future was actually entertaining. I mean, come on now. And I'm not even the biggest, New Japan fan, not because I don't like it, but because it's just keeping up with it is, harder for me. But I think Ricochet going back to New Japan would be the fantastic go-to move. Look, AEW, here's the thing. People saying he would get buried there. Guess what? He got buried in WWE. So it wouldn't be any difference. But I'd rather him go to a place where he has a lot of familiarity as opposed to a place that just has a lot of more big names. That's just my thing. So that's how I look at it. Haas, you take it away, my friend. What do you think about the everybody from that ladder match being gone or that title match being gone? And where do you see good old Ricochet going next?
To be honest, until that graphic was submitted, I had forgotten who all was in that match. So, honestly, as far as everybody being gone, it's semi-surprising that everybody's gone, but that's just because you don't think about 6 people being gone from that period of time.
Right.
But when you look at these 6 people, not quite as surprising, because like I say, how many people truly, without looking at the graphic or seeing something to remind them of it, how many people truly remembered these 6 people in that match? Probably not very many. So, from that aspect, no, it doesn't surprise me. As far as where Ricochet lands, I can see him going back to New Japan. I think he would really flourish there. I don't know that I could see him in TNA. Even though he probably would help the TNA overall. Because I don't think that they're what was expected after the big hype of the comeback. I think they've started to fall a little flat. So even though, they do have some pretty good talent there, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think they're getting the viewership of fans that they thought that they were.
Right.
So I don't see him going there. I know Ospreay has made the remark that he would like to wrestle Ricochet in AEW, but there's a lot of people in AEW now that I don't feel that AEW uses correctly anymore. And that's what's happening in WWE as well. You're getting the bigger names, you're getting all these big name people and great talents. And you got to get them to get your viewership. But after getting them, their mid-card talents and your the people that you're trying to build up, that just came in, your developmental talent, that's the word I'm trying to think of, they are being forgotten. Not as much in WWE because of NXT, but they're kind of being forgotten and overlooked, and so they're a lot of the mid card and developmental are leaving because of the bigger names getting all the attention and just not them. So I see that happen in AEW. I see that happen in WWE, and so I can't see him going to AEW. So I think New Japan would probably be a good place for him from what I've seen. Now, I will admit, just, as you said, I don't follow New Japan as closely as I would like to. Mostly what I see of New Japan is what comes on television on their weekly shows, and of course that's stuff that was taped, sometimes months ago. So
yeah, that's true too. But you know what? I miss when it's on Access. I remember when I'd watch it on Access TV with Kevin Barnett or Josh Barnett and Kevin Kelly and even Jim Ross.
Yeah, well, and I think isn't it still on Access?
Yeah, but I don't have Spectrum anymore, so I don't have Access TV.
See, I have Comcast, and I have it. And
okay, well, good.
I record it, and I think they've switched nights now because it used to record on Thursday nights, and now I'm seeing it pop up in my DVR on Wednesday nights. So they must have changed.
You can't watch it on Wednesday nights unless it's late, because that's when Roundabout Sports airs.
Just like NXT, you can't watch NXT because
the Wrestle Talk.
Got Wrestle Talk. So, but yeah, so I can see him in New Japan. So now that we got Gabe back here,
you're up, Gabe.
I muted myself by accident. It's weird to look back at that photo. That's where I can start with this. Like, oh my God. Like, it's there's 7 dudes on there. Like, can we pull it back up? Just like, because I'm trying to look at this. Or 6, excuse me. But like, all of these dudes had potential here in terms of WWE. At the time, I thought, and then Ricochet made something. I feel like he was very consistent. Adam Cole, I don't think he's wrong for jumping to AEW and where he's landed right now. EC3 took it on the chin, and then now he's running NWA. Like, he took that the best out of all of them. And then can somebody confirm for me who's the guy on the right? I don't want to be rude. I'm just not familiar.
That's why I didn't actually say anything.
So
See,
nobody knows.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. You look, even looking at this graphic, we don't know who all these guys are.
Hold
And
on.
if you're not looking at the graphic, you definitely don't remember all 6 of these guys.
Hold on. I'm looking at it. Killian Dane.
Killian Dane, that's right. He's
God.
the husband of Nikki Cross. Yeah, you know what? Killian Dane, you know where I remember him from? Sanity. And you remember who didn't last long in WWE? Sanity.
Oh my God.
So,
Unbelievable.
yeah, there it is right there.
It's weird where the chips fall in 2024. This is what being 26 is, ladies and gentlemen. You realize the crap. No, but as far as Ricochet's future in the wrestling world, I want to see him in New Japan. I think he could bulk up. I think he could jump up to heavyweight instead of just junior heavyweight, and then he can come for Ospreay. It'd be cool.
See, and I think that's what's great about the Forbidden Door being knocked down.
I want to see these. Do we see him go there as a startup? Because think about it, Moxley did something similar. He started in AEW and then he went to New Japan.
Here's my thing. I'm going to ask you guys both this question. Do you ever see Ricochet? I mean, yes, technically his contract is up. Do you see Triple H at some, like, before Ricochet signs with somebody? I mean, he's got the 90-day no-compete clause. In those 90 days, do you think Triple H is able to throw Ricochet an offer that he can't refuse and keep him in WWE?
I think they're playing the field. I think they want to see who's going to call Ricochet, and then they're going to be like, all right, here's the new offer. Come back and just U-turn everybody. I do think that's a possibility. I don't know how likely it is.
Because I don't think, look, this is the thing. As much as I've talked about how misbooked Ricochet has been in WWE, I also don't think WWE would, especially in the Triple H era, Vince couldn't give a damn. But I don't think in the Paul Levesque era, they would let somebody like Ricochet go like that, this easy. That's why I don't see Chad Gable leaving, because he's such a phenomenal talent. WWE is building around who they have. There's not really washed up guys on their roster that they would just let cast aside. And let's be real. I mean, I'm not going to act like Ricochet is some old, age-old person. Ricochet's only 35.
Well,
and
I think they've already made that last-ditch effort, in my opinion. I think that's why they said, well, we're going to start this show and call it Speed that nobody's going to watch and throw this title on you that nobody's going to care about. And I think that was a last-ditch effort to try to keep Ricochet, was let's give him a title. And it just didn't work.
You think he just saw through it? That he was like, yeah, this is clearly bogus.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, who really watches Speed?
I'm not sure, but I like the idea.
And when it comes to this thing of Speed, they tape it in front of the audience. Is it the Monday night audience, or they tape it in front of, or the Friday night? It's one of the two. And then when they tape it, they're not supposed to say anything, but they do. And it's out there before it ever hits the internet. So by the time, before it hits the Speed show, that is. So by the time that 3-minute or less match hits X, you already know who done won it. And it's like, do I care to watch it? It just wasn't really well thought out, I don't think. And I believe that was their last-ditch effort to try to keep Ricochet, was we got to get a title on this guy so he'll be happy.
I think that's what's going to happen too. What Susan's saying, that they're waiting till the last day. That's my theory, at least. But yeah, no, I could totally understand what you're saying, Haas, that Ricochet just kind of threw it in because he's like, this is not a title. And then it's like they gave it to Andrade. And it's like, remember how everybody got mad? See, okay, this is what's funny about wrestling now in 2024 is that so much stuff that we're talking about, it's like, yes, wrestling is at a boom period right now, I think, but stuff is still happening. You know, nobody's going out of business, but it's like AEW has problems and WWE has problems. Let's not act like the tribalism is necessary. It's like, see how much talent is being let go or being potentially let go that we're already like speculating, and it's like, oh my god, where's he gonna land? It's just fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. And something I have always said is no matter who you are, no matter what you look at, everybody tries to present to the outside world or to everybody else that everything is just absolutely a bed of roses. Everything is beautiful, no problems here. But you can have that bed of roses, but everybody's got dirt under their roses. Otherwise, they're not growing. So everybody's hiding their dirt from others, and so that goes right along with what you were just saying. So, but yeah, so I think it'll be interesting to see where he lands and how he does.
I
There
think
have been
New Japan is most likely, but that's also because I want it the most.
Well, and there's been so many people who have left WWE that have gone on to have success elsewhere. So many people have gone on and won titles other places: AEW, TNA, MLW.
I want to
New
see him in MLW. That'd be funny.
So they've had success other places than WWE, and I believe Ricochet will also be one of them that will go on elsewhere. He will have great success, and I look forward to seeing it. I hate to see him go, but as it's been said several times, WWE just misused the talent.
I agree.
That is just like a good thing though, because there's a lot happening in wrestling. So it's like you got to pay attention to what's happening and just be like, okay, they have a lot of talent though, and they're trying to make time for everybody. So it's like, I know it happens, but I'm like, dang, they do have a lot of names nowadays, and a lot that they're like, no, I need more money on Seth Rollins, and I'm like, well, yeah, because it's Seth Rollins.
Yeah, exactly. So it is what it is. So, gentlemen, I believe it's about time to get to our featured guest of the evening. But before we do, we definitely want to hit those sponsors again before we get to that.
I will gladly take the reins on this one. All righty. Well,
all right. So let me get them all loaded up here, and we'll have Jeremy go ahead and shout them out for us.
Consideration paid for by the following.
All righty, folks. Here at the Wrestle Talk Podcast, we want to thank all of our amazing sponsors. That includes Royal Mills Transportation, thanks to the very own Dewan Mills, Nobleman's Barber Lounge in Kansas City, Missouri, Kincaid Arcade at the nationwide famous Oak Park Mall, I-70 Sports Media. Thank you so much to the amazing team that works so hard there, specifically at Issues with Wrestling. Little Popeye Designs. You can get yourself a nice Wrestle Talk Podcast tumbler for only $20. Not too bad, if I say so myself. And, of course, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. Hardcore Hoss knows them and he loves them. The FWWC.
All right. Well, our guest is backstage. He is ready to go here. So I think it's time we go ahead and get ready to bring him in. And have here somewhere. Just trying. Okay, there we go. All right. So our guest tonight is a gentleman who has been wrestling for 15 plus years, and he has 10 years experience from the deathmatch wrestling. He has a supernatural tolerance for pain and punishment, and he will be I lose my train of thought so easily. I get rabbit trails. But anyway, he will be competing this weekend in the Purge. So welcome to the show, Sky De Lacrimosa. I probably just butchered that, and I apologize.
Run away from the thoughts in your brain, tearing you apart like the blade on a chain. The look on your face.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, you butchered it completely. It's Sky De Lacrimosa. Lacrimosa.
That's what I thought. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I was practicing it backstage all before the show.
My favorite thing is going to a new show, an announcer like coming up almost shaking at me and go, "I don't want to mess this up. Please don't let me mess this up. Please don't let me screw this up by any chance." So it's normal. It happens. But once you say it, you kind of learn it. It's pretty easy.
People get Gabriel wrong sometimes. Like,
oh, it's even better.
I can imagine they butcher your name, but
yeah, I understand.
Welcome to the show, man.
Oh, hey, look, there's Rex, that guy right there. I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you guys having me on. It means a lot.
So yeah, we appreciate you coming on and everything. So Jeremy, you want to start us off tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Sky. So I want to ask you, where did the whole thing at MPX with you? I mean, you got a vicious death match coming up against the Carver. Okay. For those that are new to the whole MPX scene and your whole scene, and literally it's an epic death match at the Purge. Where did this all come about?
All right, so like was said, I've done death matches for about 10 years now, mostly in Texas, but I keep an eye on all death matches, all wrestling, honestly, throughout the entire nation. I watch a lot of New Japan too, but we won't get into that. But I watched the Prince of Death Matches 2021. And Carver was in that, and I was like, man, this guy reminds me so much of myself. You know how crazy it would be if we could get him for a match. So I started like sending out feelers to all the promotions around here, going, hey, I think it'd be really cool. I think we could do some insane stuff. And MPX bid on it right before WrestleMania weekend 2022. WrestleMania was in Dallas, so they set it up for WrestleMania weekend. Carver was going to be in town. It was perfect. And then it fell through. Like a week before they had to call it off. I ended up getting a 2-on-1 handicap match. And so since then I've pushed and pushed and pushed, going, hey, Carver, I need it. I need this match. Like, Carver won Prince of Death Matches 2021. We such like a similar mindset. I think it's perfect. And then finally, it's been booked. And we are 5 days away from it. So that's how it came to be, and how we got to this point.
So, okay, you are in you've explained for a decade now, you've been in the deathmatch scene. There's a lot of different styles of professional wrestling out there, none perhaps more gruesome, more hot, more risk-taking, and no pun intended, more deadly than deathmatch wrestling. It is its own genre in and of itself. What attracted you to this specific? It's almost an underground cult, if you will, of professional wrestling. Like, because it's not often those wrestlers that aren't in deathmatch wrestling step out into that world, and it's not and you can say the same reverse.
All right.
It's like deathmatch wrestlers are in their own universe. So what brought you into this universe?
So I have been a fan of wrestling my entire life. I started like watching wrestling. My first memories was of wrestling. My parents watched it all the time. World Class was big for us, and it's like I said, I absorbed all wrestling when I was near a teenager. At a teenager, I started tape trading a bunch. So I got to see stuff like FMW and All Japan and ECW and stuff like that. And like it was just so cool to watch, like to see how far they would like put their bodies on the line. And then I started watching the backyard wrestling stuff. You know, if you remember those old DVDs they used to sell, Backyard Wrestling Volume 5. I Josh Prohibition, Matt Cross were big on them. Sanjay Dutt was like in some of them too. It was crazy. Like watching those, I was like, oh, that's always really cool. But in my head, I was like, I'll never do that. Like, even if I become a pro wrestler, I'm not going to do that. And so I kept watching and watched like IWA Mid-South and like watching the death matches there. Funny enough, my first death match was actually against Darren Childs, which I had watched him, and when I got in the ring with him, I was like, "Oh man, I'm in trouble. I'm gonna die." Oh, we're doing all this. We got thumbtacks. We got all this. Man, I'm in trouble. Went out there. It was fine. It was good. It was fun. And the moment my back hit the thumbtacks, and I was, oh, I can do this. This is nothing. And then it's been like this like mountain going up and up and up. It's like, oh well, I'm comfortable with this, but am I comfortable with this? Am I comfortable with this? Am I comfortable with fire? Oh wait, I am comfortable with fire. What else am I comfortable with? So it just became that. And that's not to say I can't actually wrestle either. Obviously, as long as I've been doing it, like death matches have been maybe 25-30% of my matches.
So one thing I'm curious about, you mentioned about gradually becoming more comfortable with aspects of wrestling. So like you said, the thumbtacks, then maybe the barbed wire, then the fire. When you go out and do a death match, for one show, let's just say show A, you do a death match, and then you go to show B and show C. Do you feel like every single time you have to outperform yourself, do something more than what you've done before? Right, basically, do you feel that you have to raise the bar when you do another death match?
Not always. It really just depends on the situation, right? If I've been in a feud with a guy for 6 months and we're on our near our blow off match, yeah, I'm gonna do something like go through a flaming table. That happened. But if it's like the first death match I have with a guy, I'm not gonna go out there and like try to set the guy on fire like right away, because like then the next time that we wrestle, then what do I have to do? Then I have to go like just pull out a gun and that's the end of the death match, right? So it's there's levels to it, and you don't want to. Yeah. Pillman 9mm Glock. Yep, that's one of my favorite promos.
That's what we call the school of Arn Anderson.
Yeah,
yes.
Right.
With the strap.
Yeah, but it's just there's a build to it. You don't want to, like, for lack of a better term, you don't want to blow your load on the first like match out. So yeah, I don't have to outdo myself in that, but I want to wrestle better than I did last time.
Okay, I got one more, and then I'm going to pass it on to my buddy Gabe, the birthday boy over here. So, what's the best way to word this? Okay, here we go. The toughest bump you can recall taking
Ooh.
in a death match.
Okay. Okay, so I'll give you 3 on that, just because
Yeah, I was gonna say if you have a
this,
top 3 or something,
there's a couple. The flaming table last year at last year's Purge, is probably number 1. I set the table on fire, turn around, get low blowed, take a spine buster through the table. My leg stayed on fire.
oh my god.
Yeah, they had like fire extinguishers. There's some really cool pictures online of it, which is crazy to say, but yeah. The second one, hardcore match, not really death match, but it was still like the worst thing I've ever taken. One of the worst things I've ever taken. My tag partner, it was me, my tag partner, another guy in a match, and he came off a balcony and hit a swanton onto us. And when he landed on me, it was all his heels and my ribs. And like I literally rolled in the ring and had that thought of, oh man, I might die right now. Like I thought he crushed my ribs into my lung, and I was gone. I was gone. That was it. I'm done. No more. And maybe the third one, Brick Savage gave me a giant driver on the apron one time, and it was one of those. Well, I guess this is it. No more wrestling after this. Crush hit the floor and was just done. I got up. It took me a good 20-30 seconds to get up, but that's probably the 3 biggest like toughest bumps I've taken in like a hardcore deathmatch situation.
Whew. All right, Gabe. The floor is yours for our amazing Sky.
I just wanted to start off with the artwork on the back wall there. I see Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk.
One of the best matches of all time.
I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Like, okay, so that's one of the bigger matches. You mentioned FMW, so Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling, right?
Yeah.
My uncle had a couple DVDs. He had a couple backyard wrestling DVDs too, by the way. Those guys are insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I guess I just wanted to ask, like, kind of cliche, but like, what are some notable matches that kind of inspire your style of wrestling?
One, right there above me, that Cactus Terry match is way up there. That match was like iconic for so many different reasons. It's not even the fact that like it's 2 of the best. It was literally showing who Cactus Jack was to the world for the most part. And we all know the stories on Mick and what all happened with that. Flying back and falling apart as he's flying back. So that one's up there. Another big one, and it was up there for me, but it became more so later on. There's a double death tournament. I think it's like 2006, maybe 2005. But it's Darren Childs and Jacob Ladder, the Children of Pain. I don't remember who they're with right now. Like, I don't remember who they were against at that point. But near the end of the match, Darren gets on the top rope, takes a gray hoodie, puts it on. His tag partner pours lighter fluid across his back. They light him on fire. And he does like a diving senton, misses the guy, goes straight through a thing of light tubes, and they put him out real fast. Like as a wrestler, it was like, oh man, that was so crazy. But then like hearing more about it later on, it was like, oh okay, because it was this whole line of these. It was 2007, yeah. Thank you, Donnie. Donnie knows. I think I actually showed Donnie that match, to be honest. But it was this whole idea of these fans are bloodthirsty. What do I have to do to make them actually feel sympathy for something? And apparently it's setting yourself on fire and doing a senton through light tubes. What else? Okay, not exactly deathmatch, but it is like top of my matches. Necro Butcher versus Samoa Joe.
I've seen that match.
That's one of my favorite matches of all time. I'll watch
It's
it like
really
once every year. Like,
bloody.
I will watch that match like 2 to 3 times a year at the very least. And it's not even the fact that it's so bloody. It's so visceral and so hard hitting and physical. Like
It's a very
Joe's.
different kind of match. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen a video essay on it on YouTube. It's really fun.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a very fun match to watch.
It's a match that needs to be studied. It's weird. It's like
And
the more he bleeds, the more he fights, and it's like it's a weird backwards way of wrestling that I love.
I've adapted to that, right? Like, so the more you give me, the more I'm gonna fight back. Whether I'm covered in blood, whether I'm on one leg, I'm still gonna like do whatever I can to get the win. So that's a big one for me too.
That's awesome. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of like another question to ask.
No worries. Well, while we're waiting, happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. So the Texas Chainsaw.
Yes.
Where does that name originate from?
It's kind of easy to see. It's the whole horror movie vibe.
So Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh well,
be
transparent, like.
Yeah.
Why'd you pick that name? Because it sounds cool.
Because it's cool. No, so there's a little bit more behind it than that. MPX is pretty much my home promotion. Like I'm there almost every single Saturday. And I was in a group. It was the 3 of us. Actually, you can see the very edge of it right there above me. It was a group of 4 of us, 3 wrestlers and a manager. And the manager, Isaac Mazer, I may have my problems with him, but I still understand that he is one of the best managers around. And he had this ideal that he had 3 weapons. He had Hardakis, this giant demon. That was his sword. He cleaved people in half. My tag partner, Jason Silver, was his scalpel. If he needed something exactly taken care of, he'd go to him. And then if he needed something just completely demolished and you couldn't even recognize what it was, he went to his chainsaw. And that was me. And when that group separated, Isaac stayed with me, and we started developing everything that the Texas Chainsaw is today. So, like, if you listen to the entrance music, it has the Texas Chainsaw Massacre's flashbulb effect at the start, plus a chainsaw. If you look at my gear, it's all torn up leather, and my apron. I have a full butcher's apron and mask that looks just bloody and like just decaying. I've got some special stuff for the Purge we won't talk about, but I'm in the process of fixing that. That'll even push that a little bit further home whenever we get there.
So I got a question I have to ask. It's something that's been on my mind for a while. We've talked about your specialty, how great you are at death matches, some of the amazing competitors you faced and are about to face, and the biggest thing we touched on was this type of own genre, that deathmatch wrestling is. But to the casual wrestling fan, what do you think the biggest misconception about a death match is?
So the biggest misconception is easy. Most casual fans will look at it and go, it's just blood and guts. We're just gonna smash light tubes over each other's head for 10-15 minutes and that's it. At the best level, deathmatch is as good, if not a better art form than actual wrestling is. Just because we have that little bit more of an edge of, man, this could actually kill somebody. So like for most fans, they'll look at it and go, oh, we're just breaking stuff over each other's heads and trying to kill each other. But the more you actually dig into the genre, you see that there's very, very compelling stories there. For the most part, I will say there are guys who do go out there and just break light tubes over each other's heads for 10, 15 minutes. But some of the best deathmatch wrestlers are honestly some of the best professional wrestlers, period. Like, some of these guys can go out there and put on a classic. They just don't, because they want to use the deathmatch style.
Do you consider if somebody comes up to you and asks, about what's the best way? Okay, somebody comes up to you, and you, and they know you from MPX, and they've seen your matches, and they question the validity of deathmatch style wrestling.
Right.
What is something you would tell them?
Yeah, the easiest way to do it is, and I've done it before, is like, did you feel something? Like, did you care about it? Like, or did you not want to watch it whatsoever? Because a lot of guys, they'll say, "Oh, it's garbage," but then when it's in front of them, like, they're almost enthralled by it. Seeing like a guy with a pack of barbecue skewers in their hand, jamming them into a guy's forehead, they're gonna cringe from that, right? Like, they're gonna feel that, oh no, that's gross, kind of thing. 9 times out of 10, there are the outliers, obviously, but like, as long as I made you feel something out there, then like, you can't say it's not valid, because my job's done.
Absolutely. Hardcore Hoss, do you have anything you'd like to ask our dear friend?
So, I actually have gone to a death match myself. I went to a tournament they had. I'm actually out here in West Virginia. I went to a tournament they had out here, and so I have seen Akira and Madman Pondo, and some of them in the death matches, and it really is a different style of wrestling. But for somebody who has never been to a death match before, how would you basically describe it to them if they've never been before or don't know what you're referring to?
I gotcha. So I've honestly done that recently in the last couple weeks with trying to bring people to the Purge. It's no holds barred. Like, anything can be used. We've seen everything from steel chairs and tables to light tubes to thumbtacks, gusset plates. If you guys know what the gusset plates are, with the little plates with the little spikes like that on it, I've actually got a paddle with a bunch of gusset plates on it, sitting in the other room. That'll be there Saturday. Then there is, like, you will like see the limits of the human body for the most part. The more that we push it, the more people feel. So we try to push that limit as far as we can. So as far as what to expect a lot of blood, expect a lot of violence, and expect to have to move and get out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing. If you are at a death match, if they come your way, move. My sister found that out the hard way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They came right in her direction, and then it was actually Jake Chris was wrestling, and when he threw the guy in her direction, he looked at her and said, "When I come your way, move."
Yeah. And that's not only that, but also if you see glass being brought out, you get ready to cover your eyes. Have safety goggles or something, because that is a big risk too.
It's funny, Haas, you mentioned Akira. So I have called one death match I do commentary for. I've done commentary for Dynamo Pro. I currently do commentary for Pro Wrestling Epic. I'm based in the St. Louis area. I've called one death match in my career that I can recall, and it was Lenny Mephisto versus Akira. And the special guest enforcer, or if you will, the special guest manager for Akira, Bill Alfonso. And holy hell, and like I said, I've watched a lot of deathmatch wrestling up to this point, but to actually call the match, to see it happen, to experience the energy the crowd face, and you both are absolutely right about if it's coming towards you, get out of the way, because the fight went to the crowd. They had to, you had the guys around to make sure nobody innocently got, hit with something, because they brought everything. They brought chairs, bats, glass, bulb tubes, like forks. I mean, it was a bloody mess. And yet, it was still such an entertaining match. Lost in all the, like we say the blood, the guts, say what you want. Lost in all that was we had a really damn good wrestling match on our hands. And Sky, that's really to your point. What you were saying is that it is more than just the brutality of it. It's professional wrestling, but the bar is just raised so high. And I think of it as not every professional wrestler can step into the deathmatch world. It takes that special kind of wrestler, just like not every wrestler can do the lucha libre style. Not every wrestler can go to Japan and wrestle the Japanese style. Every different style of pro wrestling, there's a reason that they are a finite amount of people. So that's what I liken it to. And I just thought it was interesting that Haas mentioned Akira, because I'm like, yeah, that's right. I did call a deathmatch before, and it was an out of this world experience. And Lenny at this point, dude's in his 40s, I think, and he walks like he's in his 90s. And from what we've talked, he probably feels like it too.
So we've talked a little bit about the Purge. We've talked about your match, and obviously Purge is going to be at the Metroplex this coming Saturday night, and Max the Impaler will be on hand. So what are some of the other things that they can look forwards to at the Purge this coming Saturday?
So one of the coolest things about the Purge is pretty much every single match is no disqualification. There are no rules. This is the Purge, just like you would see the movie. It's the same thing. Show starts, all rules are off. So at the Epic in Grand Prairie this Saturday, there are a lot of crazy things going to happen. Hilda, the MPX women's champion, defends her belt, and we don't know who it's against. It's a mystery opponent. Then there's also Kari Jai Wright against JoJo, homeless guy, goes by Hobo JoJo or JoJo. They're having a dumpster match. So that'll be insanely entertaining to watch. The tag team championships are being defended in a double tables match, which I don't know the rules personally. I assume you got to put both people through, but it may just be an actual tables match. What else? Oh, it just got announced this past week. There's a 6-man match with Mikey B, Big J, and Paulie Paparazzi against Adam Green, Tatum Manning, and Santana Jackson. Which is kind of cool to see because Mikey B's thinks he's the king of pop, and now he's got to deal with Santana Jackson. The actual king of pop as far as wrestling's concerned. So that'll be pretty entertaining to watch. What else am I missing? I know I'm missing something. Oh, the triple threat. Erica Torres, Delenn Cavens, which I know you guys had on show not too long ago, and Max the Impaler. That's gonna be something to watch, man. Delenn, I know the kid's got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of heart, but it's got a lot of uphill battle for him in that one. And then the biggest one would be Demo Diamond wrestling Tommy Becker for the MPX Championship. And once again, all these matches, no rules. So to see what they're going to get into is going to be interesting as well. But I believe that's all the matches. I may be missing one, but I think I covered pretty much all of them.
Sounds like it's going to be a real good time. You know, I wish that I was in the area. I'd love to attend, but
I don't know. I don't know if we're streaming this one. We stream all of our other Saturdays on Twitch, twitch.tv/Metroplex Wrestling. I don't know if we're streaming this one because it's not in our building. It's in a bigger building because we couldn't fit everybody in. But if it's not streamed that night, it goes onto our YouTube usually within the week. So this will be an opportunity to watch it, just not live.
I'll definitely have to check that out then. Gabe, did you have anything else you wanted to ask?
I was actually just going to ask if we could go on to our next segment because I think he's going to like what we have in store here in the Wrestle Talk podcast.
So, Jeremy, are you ready for that, or did you have any other questions?
I am definitely ready for it. I got everything I need right with me.
I wanted to set him up with softball.
All right. Well, Jeremy, go ahead and take it away, my man.
All right. So first, come on. We got to hit the music. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start, if I recall correctly, the world famous and the top-notch Wrestle Talk podcast game show challenge. The theme will hit. Hang on. Is it working? Host? Oh, no wonder. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Tonight's contest is scheduled for the best 2 out of 3 falls. Our contestants are the Wrestle Talk Podcast's very own and birthday boy, Gabriel Arcine, and Sky De Lacrimosa. Sky De Lacrimosa. There we go. There you go. In a few moments. See, that's what happens. I said it way too fast, but that is okay. In a few moments, I will ask you both fine gentlemen 3 questions about a professional wrestling topic that you guys have no idea what it's about to be. When you think you know the answer to the question, just shout it out. Both Hardcore Hoss and I will be the judges on who says it first. Gabe, are you ready?
I'm ready to win.
Sky, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
This might be tougher than any death match you've been a part of, my friend. So,
Let's see.
All right. So, tonight's podcast game show challenge category is, let me just have the little drum roll. NXT Champions. All righty. So, what I'm going to be doing in honor of Ricochet leaving WWE is give you the information about 3 NXT champions. When you think you know the answer, once again, just shout out the answer. First guy to get 2 right will win. We got plenty of questions ready. And Hardcore Hoss, I know he's watching lip movement to make sure we have a fair winner. All righty. So here we go. First thing we're going to do, there we go. That way we can really make sure to keep track. Okay. Question number 1. This wrestler is the only 3-time NXT champion.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Shinsuke
No, wait,
Nakamura.
Finn Balor?
Hang on. Shinsuke Nakamura is incorrect. He has also held championships in Pro Wrestling Noah, ROH, WWE's main roster,
Adam
and
Cole.
TNA.
Wait.
Adam Cole is not correct. Sky, do you have a guess?
TNA. My first thought was Sami Zayn, but it's not.
Sami Zayn is not
Bobby
correct.
Roode.
Bobby Roode is not correct.
Dang it. Oh my God. What is it? Why don't I know this?
Yeah, say TNA's throwing me off.
Oh my God. No, Noah's throwing me off. Who was in Noah? Okay, I'm like going down the list. It wasn't Drew McIntyre. It wasn't Andrade.
Nope.
Aleister Black?
No.
No, he wasn't in TNA.
It wasn't in TNA, yeah.
We're like working together now. I can't. We need to solve this. I don't even care if you get it.
I know, right? At this point. Because now I'm completely blanking. Like, because then my next guess would have been Finn. You already said
You
Adam.
both might literally.
I said Finn Balor.
I think
him.
Sky is going to go through his own flaming.
It wasn't
table.
Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe is correct.
Yes.
I thought you said. I thought I swear you said Joe already.
But he switched it to Shinsuke
Okay.
before he finished.
That's why.
But I wasn't going to tell him that. So
that's fair on the play. That's like when you let go of your piece in chess. That counts.
I
Like,
have to be fair. So yes, Samoa Joe is the correct answer.
He was in Noah?
He was in Noah.
I gotta Google that. I never
I know,
watched
it's
Noah
interesting.
enough.
Ooh. All right. Question number 2. This professional wrestler was the second wrestler to hold the NXT championship twice.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Shinsuke Nakamura is correct. Now, just for the hell of it, because Gabe has the chance for a clean sweep, I'm going to throw question number 3. This professional wrestler was the first to vacate the championship due to a neck injury.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn is incorrect.
Dang it. Neck injury. Drew McIntyre?
No,
that was an arm injury. Oh, God. I should know this.
He is currently a tag team specialist. On the main roster in WWE.
Due to a neck injury. Kevin Owens?
He is not Kevin Owens.
Oh my God. I don't know. I already said Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Who vacated it due to a neck injury? Tag team specialist. What does that mean? Oh my God.
It's going to see Andrade.
Nope, it is not Andrade.
No.
It wasn't Aleister Black. Oh my God.
Nope.
I don't even know why I would suggest that. Bobby Roode?
Nope.
Or Finn. Finn's was
Finn.
not from the NXT though. Yeah, that wasn't NXT's that he dropped.
Okay, hold on. Wasn't Adam Cole? No, he's not a tag team specialist. Right? It's not Adam Cole?
Not Adam Cole.
Okay.
Like I said, right now, he is on the main roster in WWE.
Is it Ciampa?
It is Tommaso Ciampa. He's with Johnny Gargano currently. And he hasn't had a singles run in a long time.
Yeah, which is weird because
which is weird because he's one of the best singles wrestlers. So
yeah.
Ooh. I have 2 more questions.
Sure.
So, do you want to do a best out of 5?
Sure, we can do best out of 5.
All
Birthday
right.
best out of 5. Let's do it.
All right. So, here we go. Let me make sure I got the. All right, here we go. Either Gabe wins it or Sky ties it. This professional wrestler was the very first NXT champion.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins is correct, and I'm going to tell you the truth. I am actually kind of glad because guess what? I didn't have another question. I would have had to pull it right out of my ass. So, congratulations to our very own birthday boy, Gabriel Arsene. You are the winner of this week's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge.
I do it for you.
I want to say I feel like Haas was biting his tongue on a lot of those answers back there. I feel like he knew a lot of those. And I want to give you both credit because you both really fought hard. You said a lot of wrong answers, but you both fought very hard.
That wasn't a complete sweep. Why didn't I know half of those? I felt
That's
like
what I'm
I should have
saying.
known most
Look,
of those.
the Samoa Joe one, I tried so hard to not just give you that. I couldn't.
Thank you for not letting it go to time because it was like more fun that way. It was like, okay, who next? Who's next? Like we were trying to figure it out.
No, I ain't doing the time limit. So, all right. Well, once again, congratulations, Gabe. And Sky, I want to thank you so much on behalf of all of us for being here this week on the Wrestle Talk podcast. I, of course, want to wish you all the best in your match against the Carver at the Purge. So before we let you go, first I want to do the honors, something I don't get to do often, and that's welcome you as official member of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. And I have to ask two things. Number one, where can the folks out there find you in the world of social media? And second, give us a little bit more of information about the Purge coming up.
Awesome. So first off, you can find me. Almost all my social medias are the same. So X, Instagram, Twitch.tv, all three of those are just my entire name. Sky De Lacrimosa, all one word. Facebook is almost exactly the same, except for there's a one at the end of it. I think that was my own fault. But all social medias, Instagram, X, Facebook, Twitch, like it's all Sky De Lacrimosa. Just add that one on Facebook. And as far as the Purge's upcoming show for Metroplex Wrestling, there are no rules the entire show. But not only are there no rules the entire show, everybody takes advantage of the fact that there's no rules. So you will see all kinds of violence. You will see blood. You will see guts. You will see a lot of wrestling. And I myself will be in a epic death match against the Carver one-on-one, in which one of us probably won't walk out.
Okay, well, please make sure that there is proper medical attention on the scene at all times, because you sure as hell aren't going to have me carrying anybody out. Well, on behalf of Hardcore Hoss, the birthday boy Gabriel Arsene, and of course myself, the Maestro Jeremy Carr, so much, and we wish you the best of luck in kicking Carver's ass coming up at the Purge.
And just promise us that you will come back. I feel that there's more that we haven't touched on yet with you and everything. So we'd love to have you back sometime and just dig a little deeper and find out more.
Oh yeah, whenever you guys want to have me, I am more than ready to come back on. I appreciate you guys.
Sounds like a plan. Sky De Lacrimosa here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Thank you, my friend, and stay blessed and have a wonderful night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Third time was a charm. I knew I would end it on the right name pronunciation. So
you have redeemed yourself.
I've redeemed myself, and let me just say, from calling a death match, from watching death matches, it is its own unique genre. It is more than what people perceive it to be. And if you're not prepared enough for it, it will definitely, just like anything, it will definitely bite you in the ass. So, yeah, I don't know about you guys, but Haas, if you want to run through those sponsors one last time this fine evening,
Well,
we will.
I don't think Gabe has had an opportunity to do the sponsors yet.
You know
have
what?
you?
Looking back on it, you're absolutely right. Gosh
So,
darn it. All right, Gabe, you're up.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Oh. Well, it would help if, we had those
There we go.
sponsors.
So the Wrestle Talk podcast would like to thank all our great sponsors, including Royal Mills Transportation, head by one DeJuan Mills, Nobleman's Barber Lounge in Kansas City, Missouri, Kincaid Arcade at Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media, Little Popeye Designs. That's where you can pick up your Wrestle Talk podcast tumbler. And of course, the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group.
You'd love to see it.
This is a good birthday gift, guys.
And folks, as always, before we close the show, remember we do put the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline up on the show. You can for that you can dial 988 and there you go. The line is open 24/7, 365, 366 on leap years such as this year. Understand that you're never alone in this world. There's always somebody out there who loves you, who cares about you. Mental health and mental illness are real things. They're real conditions. They deserve the proper attention and care. And you are just a phone call, a text message, an appointment away. Understand we all go through struggles, and none of these struggles are meant to be traveled alone. And I want to personally thank Hardcore Haas and the birthday boy himself, Gabriel Arsene. I hope it's been a blessed day for you, and I look forward to many more birthday celebrations in the future with you. And with that, I'm going to let these two fine gentlemen give their closing thoughts on the show.
Go ahead, birthday boy.
Well, I just want to say I didn't know I needed a podcast as a birthday gift, but it's something special. Like I'd say that from a genuine place of loving pro wrestling, having an opportunity to get to talk about it with guys like every week. Like it feels like work, but it's fulfilling. So, thank you guys, even in spite of the birthday, like just you guys have been great. It's awesome to be a part of this team. And, not just to many more birthdays, but to many more episodes of the Wrestle Talk podcast on our way to episode 500.
Amen.
All right. Well, happy birthday, Gabe. Glad that we got to be a part of it. And just thank you to all the fans out there. Just, so happy you can join us, no matter whether you're joining us live or watching the replay. We really, really appreciate you. Please be sure to share the show with others. And don't forget to use those hashtags, Wrestle Talk Podcast and Let's Talk Wrestling. And, help us grow on the way to 500. Looking forward to episode 500. As I've said several times, plenty of surprises, and we're not gonna leak our surprises. We want you to really be surprised, but
I've learned that the hard way.
Sleeve. What's that?
I said I've learned that the hard way when it comes to surprises on this show. I'm never gonna forget that one, damn it.
So, Gabe, happy birthday. Jeremy, happy late 50th birthday.
Thank you. Oh, man.
It's been a pleasure.
God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
See you next week.
See you later, my friends.
All right.